No evidence that the Clippers funneled cash to Kawhi Leonard via team sponsors to circumvent the salary cap. Have you been following that? This story is far from over. After an 11-month investigation, the NBA is now focusing on whether the Clippers violated any rules when introducing Kawhi to sponsors. His trade to Toronto still on hold through all of this, and it could go to arbitration. Speaking of things that are on hold, Lakers Governor Jeanie Buss is contesting her siblings' vote to sell the family's remaining share of the Lakers. This according to a letter from her lawyer that ESPN obtained. Shams reported earlier Monday the Buss family voted to sell their remaining shares to Josh Kushner and Bob Iger at the same valuation that those guys bought the team from Mark Walter from last week. And so all of this leaves the most significant team in the sport in some semblance of limbo. And I'll remind everyone, as Ramona Shelburne rejoins us, who covers this as closely as anyone, this is incredibly important because it will determine who makes the actual basketball decisions, right? Ramona, the money is one thing. The fans don't care as much about that. But who makes the decisions there? That's what's at stake here.
You're exactly right. The team is going to Slovenia this week to hang out at Luka Doncic's in his hometown, right? And the team is set. I mean, they're all locked in on their contracts, but who's going to be the coach? Who's going to be the general manager? That's up to the controlling owner. And right now that's in some dispute. I mean, in the sale to Josh Kushner and Bob Iger, Bob Iger's on the record with the California Post saying, we intend to honor the agreement that Jeanie had with Mark Walter, that she would stay as the controlling owner for another 4 years. But there was a hedge in there, which was if something changes, then it changes. This would constitute a big change, obviously, but this is still in dispute, and I'm not sure quite how it resolves yet because we've got Jeanie Buss contesting this, saying the trust doesn't have the right to make the sale or to do a sale, to invoke these tag-along provisions.
So this is important stuff here. There's a whole new audience joining us from the last time we spoke. So let's put this in as plain English as we can. The rest of her siblings want to sell. She sent them a letter through her lawyer saying, wait a minute, I need to agree to this, and I haven't. I'm not agreeing to this. None of this has gone to court yet, and ultimately, that's where this stuff usually gets decided, which means we could be looking at a long time before a resolution to this comes.
That's a great summary. The 5 of the 6 voted to sell on Monday morning. That's what Shams reported, and they believe they have the right to sell because of what are called tag-along provisions, which was part of the original sale to Mark Walter, saying if Mark Walter ever sold his shares, they could tag along to that that sale at the same valuation he got. Okay. Now, I can tell you, Greenie, they had the same vote 3 or 4 months ago, and there were only 3 siblings that voted for it then. After after Mark Walter decided to sell his shares last week, the final 2 came along, and now they have 5, and say they believe that's enough. Shams said that it needed 4 of the 6. Jeanie says, not so fast. I have a 2017 court order saying you can't do anything without me. I am the controlling owner, and the 3 co-trustees, which are Janie, Joey, and Jeanie, they all have to be in alignment to keep Jeanie Buss as the controlling owner. And so right now, all we have is a letter from her lawyer to their lawyer. We're not in court yet, but we're waiting on the response from the 5 siblings.
So that's the part of this I think everyone needs to understand. It doesn't impact the sale, the big picture of the team. Bob Iger and Josh Kushner are going to wind up owning the Lakers, but who actually makes the decisions, the basketball decisions, the general manager, the coach, all those sorts of things, that's what's in play here. Now, the thing we didn't have enough time for, I thought, when we spoke earlier, was how this impacts the Dodgers. Mark Walter also owns the Dodgers, and he owns Chelsea, the very, very popular English Premier League soccer team. People in this country care primarily about the Dodgers. What do we know about how they are impacted through all of this?
Okay, so I've been asking this question since last week, and I keep getting the same answer from a source close to ownership. The Dodgers are not for sale. Now, if somebody unsolicited makes Mark Walter a big offer, just like Josh Kushner and Bob Iger did, it sounds like they could make that offer and then he'll decide the same way he did with the Lakers. But right now, the Dodgers are not for sale, and everything else should just be regarded as assets. Now, we've all been reading the headlines, okay? The Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, this has all been in play because of the Department of Justice investigation into Mark Walter and the Guggenheim partners. There is some sense that liquidity is valuable here, with liquidity meaning liquidating your assets. The Lakers are a very big asset. Obviously, that's a huge valuation. We did the math, and he bought at a $10 billion valuation, sold for 12.5, and we do this math and we go, oh, that's a $2.5 billion profit. Actually, it's more than that, Greeny, because remember, he bought the first 26% of his shares in the Lakers at a $5 billion valuation. And so his profit on that will be closer to $4 billion. Okay, so that was a giant return. It's a giant for owning a team less than 10 months. And I think the Dodgers should be regarded in that same vein. It's going to take a massive, what number are we even talking about? Is it 11 billion, 12 billion, 15? At this point, it would take something like that, I think, to even talk about a sale of the Dodgers.
Well, that would be remarkable. If they got $10 billion for the Dodgers, that would really be something. All right, Ramona, stay on top of this. I know you'll be reporting on it all day long. Thank you for getting up super early out there in L.A. for us this morning. We appreciate